The circle of teenagers fell silent as Emma's small body hit the ground inside the pen. She scrambled backward, dust clinging to her worn jeans, heart pounding like a drum against her ribs. Across from her, the massive German shepherd's head snapped toward her, its amber eyes locked onto hers, muscles coiled beneath a midnight black coat. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Tyler Whitford's laughter died in his throat. His phone, recording the prank, trembled in his hand. But Shadow didn't lunge. The dog everyone feared, the one who had sent 2 professional handlers to the hospital, stood perfectly still, his head tilted slightly, studying the terrified girl with an intensity that made even the spectators take a step back. "Oh my God," whispered Sophia, her manicured nails digging into her arm. "What's happening?" Emma couldn't move, she couldn't breathe. Something passed between her and the dog, a flicker of recognition, a silent language only the wounded seemed to understand, and in that moment, neither of them knew who would save whom in the 72 hours that followed. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments, along with the city you're watching from. Now, let's continue with the story. Emma Grant had always known that life wasn't fair. At just 12 years old, she lived on the outskirts of the Whitford estate, a sprawling Connecticut mansion owned by the wealthy Richard Whitford. To Emma, the estate was a palace of luxury, a place where the Whitford children had everything they could dream of, but for her, it was a place of silent servitude. Emma wore hand-me-downs. She kept her head down, helping her mother, Margaret, clean the mansion, one of the last remaining staff after Richard downsized to cut costs. Margaret often reminded her, "If I lose this job, we lose everything." Their tiny cottage, their livelihood, their fragile peace. To the Whitfords, Emma was invisible, just the housekeeper's daughter, unnoticed and uninvited in their world of comfort and privilege. But everything changed one summer morning. Emma had often glimpsed the estate's massive German shepherd, Shadow. Richard had bought him as a guard dog, a status symbol more than a companion. But Shadow wasn't the obedient protector Richard expected. He was volatile, aggressive, broken. 2 handlers had already been injured. Now, Richard was ready to put him down. Still, something about Shadow called to Emma. She recognized the fear in his eyes. The same fear she carried in her heart, fear of abandonment, fear of being misunderstood. One afternoon, things took a cruel turn. Tyler Whitford, Richard's 15-year-old son, and his friends decided to humiliate Emma. Laughing, they dragged her toward Shadow's enclosure, daring her to get close, egging her on until someone pushed her inside the pen. Emma's heart thundered in her chest. She braced herself for pain. But Shadow didn't move. He stood there, still as stone, his amber eyes locked with hers, intense, searching, but not angry, not hostile. Tyler and his friends froze. This wasn't the vicious attack they'd expected. This was something else, something none of them understood. Emma could hardly breathe, but she didn't feel fear anymore. She felt seen. In that shared silence, something passed between them, an unspoken bond. A wounded girl and a wounded dog recognizing each other across a chasm no one else could bridge. That moment didn't go unnoticed. Richard, who had witnessed the entire encounter, stepped forward with a cold challenge. If Emma believed Shadow could be saved, she had 3 days to prove it. Train the dog, tame the beast. If not, Shadow would be put down. Emma felt the weight of that ultimatum settle on her like iron. She'd never trained a dog in her life. But she couldn't walk away, not from Shadow, not from this chance. She dove into books about German shepherds, she studied training techniques, learned about canine behavior, and spent every waking hour trying to earn Shadow's trust. Each moment was a test of patience, but she didn't give up. Because Shadow wasn't just a dog. He was her only chance to prove she was more than the help, that she was capable, that she mattered. Amid her tireless efforts, someone noticed. Walter, the estate's elderly groundskeeper, had watched quietly from the sidelines. A former military dog handler during Vietnam, Walter recognized the signs, the rigid posture, the alert discipline, the scars beneath the surface. Shadow wasn't just any dog. He had been trained, conditioned, used, and abandoned. Shadow had been trained for something far beyond mere protection, but there was a darkness in his past, something unspoken. Buried deep, something that made him flinch at kindness, that taught him to distrust people. Walter, a quiet observer with a keen eye, recognized the dog's potential. He became Emma's unlikely ally. Together, they embarked on a journey of healing, not just training, trust, patience, understanding. That became their foundation. Emma slowly uncovered the truth. Shadow's aggression wasn't rooted in malice, it came from fear. He wasn't dangerous by nature. He was broken, wounded, and all he needed was someone willing to show him that not every outstretched hand meant harm. Then came the moment of truth. Dr. Harmon, a renowned animal behaviorist, was brought in to evaluate Shadow. Emma's heart pounded. What if Shadow failed? What if all their hard work had been for nothing? But Shadow stunned them all. He followed Emma's commands with quiet precision. His intelligence shone through every movement, every decision. Dr. Harmon and even Richard, once skeptical, were left astounded. Against all odds, Emma had done the impossible. She had transformed a dangerous dog into a loyal, focused companion. Yet Richard remained unmoved. He still planned to send Shadow to a research facility to test his value. To Emma, it felt like betrayal. She refused to let that happen. With unexpected help from Sophia, Richard's own daughter, Emma made her stand. Sophia had seen the unspoken bond between Emma and Shadow. She believed in them. She believed in what they represented. Then everything changed. One afternoon, Samantha, Richard's youngest daughter, suffered a sudden epileptic seizure. But before anyone noticed, Shadow did. He sensed it coming. He rushed to Samantha's side and alerted the family. Richard was speechless. For the first time, he saw Shadow not as a liability, but as a protector. A lifesaver. It shattered his assumptions. And just like that, everything shifted. In the days that followed, Richard made a surprising offer. Emma could continue training Shadow. But not only that, he would fund a scholarship for her to attend a professional animal behavior program. It was an opportunity to build a real future, to turn her passion into a career. Shadow's future was secured. And Emma's life was about to change forever. But the greatest victory wasn't just saving Shadow. It was proving to everyone, and to herself, that she was capable of far more than they had ever imagined. For the first time, the people of Whitford saw Emma not as just the help, but as someone who could truly make a difference. Standing beside Shadow, watching him grow stronger and more confident with each passing day, Emma understood something deeper. Their bond was unbreakable. What they had built was born not from obedience, but from love. Shadow had found his purpose. And so had she. Their story became a quiet reminder to the world. Sometimes the most powerful bonds are forged in adversity, and often, it is the most overlooked among us who carry the greatest strength. Because just like Emma and Shadow, we all have something valuable to offer, even when the world doesn't see it yet. The journey had been long and painful, but in saving a misunderstood dog, Emma had discovered herself. Sometimes, life's greatest lessons come when we least expect them, and sometimes, the very thing the world discards becomes the thing that saves us all.
If this tale moved you, if you felt the tension, the heartbreak, and the triumph, please support our channel by hitting the like button and subscribing. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring more thrilling, emotional, and inspiring stories your way. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think. Do you believe dogs have an extraordinary sixth sense? Share your thoughts and personal stories with us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.